Here, what I've done here. Okay, this is our client for the semester. It's called, it's a project, Harrison House. It's owned by, it's run by Ward 5, Chamber of Commerce. There are, the project director here is David Sharp. He'll be speaking with us today, answering your questions. And one of the two principals also, Stanton
Wilkerson.
We'll also be addressing this. This is an opportunity as an initial client meeting where you can ask the client all the things you need answers to. You will not probably get all the answers you need. Those questions may not occur to you until later. And so we're opening up a channel here where you can email them or talk to them and help you gain any information you don't get from here. But the purpose of this is to pretty much understand what they have to say, where they're coming from, what they want to get done, who their audience is, so that you can promote whatever they need to promote or convey or educate, whatever that is, and make those recommendations that are intelligent and targeted. Okay, so I'll just turn the time over to them.
Okay. Hello everybody, my name is David Sharp, my associate is Stanton Wilkerson, and we're here to present to you some ideas of what we're trying to do to raise funds for our project. It was developed and successfully used to market our ideas and solicit funds for our project, and that's the reason why we're here today. And so, Stan, you have any other thing you want to add to that?
Probably just a couple of things.
Good afternoon,
Okay.
my name is
I'll turn
Stanton
it over to
Wilkerson,
Stanton.
and I'm the newly elected president of Harrison House Foundation, which is a newly created 501c3 nonprofit organization. And that's very important because a lot of times businesses can't give money to a for-profit organization. They can, but they don't get the residual benefit from it. So by creating a non-profit organization is going to help us in our solicitation. One of the things that's in your packet, or maybe in your packet, you may want to consult the City of Las Vegas's Pioneer Trail. Now this is a designated trail that is designed by the City of Las Vegas to direct tourists as well as local residents to various historic places around Las Vegas, which will kind of educate the individuals to what has happened in the past. The Harrison House is, I think, is stop number 8 on that trail. And that also, what we think will be a catalyst to help bring tourism into this area. This area also contains several other historic locations, which leads us to believe that we can generate a tourist-based economy in this area. The Harrison House will be a key figure in playing out that scenario. And that's very important, I think, for our communication needs to be able to communicate that to our donors, in that we're going to create a tourist environment out of what was once stated as one of the most dangerous areas in America. A lot of times tourists like dangerous areas. The area actually is not that bad. It's received a very bad reputation for various sorts of criminal activity. But like I said, once you come in and restore things, you change the dynamic of the neighborhood. This area has any category you want to look at as far as educational achievements, economic achievements, housing achievements. This area in the whole Las Vegas Valley ranks generally at the very bottom. Okay, so part of our objective is to change that dynamic around, and we feel by renovating the Harrison House, introducing people to new technologies, introducing a new revenue stream, these things will come to pass. So our goals are to generate tourism, bring back the historic renovation of this house, introduce people to new technologies and new opportunities that they can then take and duplicate in their own homes, in their own communities, and have a happier life. Be happy to address any questions you may have. And by the way, we have no money. Okay, so that's why we're here.
Where exactly is it located?
It's located on F and Adams Street. F as in Frank.
It's 101 F Street.
1001 F Street. Not really specific audiences per se. We do feel that there are some opportunities in tourism, so we'd like to tap into the tourism market, to tap into the tourist magazines, tourist-related television program, online type of tourist information. And when I say tourism, there's a couple of different categories. As I wave my mic around, that we can look at. We can look into historic tourism. We can look into the areas of ethnic tourism. We can look into the areas of even religious tourism. In this area, more than 30,000 local visitors come in to worship at the various churches that are within walking distance of the Harrison House. As a matter of fact, one of the oldest churches in the Las Vegas Valley, the Pilgrim Church, is in this area. So there are a lot of different historic buildings situated near the Harrison House.
Now, I know the question was made about audience, and you gave the answer about markets, which are different. Now, some of the audiences or publics that I see you need to reach, you mentioned fundraising. That's a target audience. People that will be donating, donors, potential donors. Can you explain the potential donors, where they come from? Are they just corporate, or?
No, we corporate donors, because they tend to have the deeper pockets, are certainly a prime audience. Individuals, student organizations, civic clubs, Boy Scout, Girl Scout organizations, organizations that tend to volunteer, because some of the donations do not have to be cash. They can be in-kind donations, as in labor, products, materials, and services. So the individual donor, the church group, the civic organization are certainly audiences as well, and target groups.
Now, on your form, you mentioned, probably can't hear me on this.
Yes, again.
On your prospective client form you filled out, you discussed the nature of your business: education, community outreach, green technology demonstration. Number of big areas. Each one of those areas really is a separate audience. Could you kind of like go down that list?
Is complete. Community outreach, as far as finding jobs and training. People doing green renovation may not be that concerned about that. So we wanted to try to, since we put that out, we've since sat down, had another cup of coffee, and decided that we need to try to focus, for the purpose of this, strictly on historic preservation and the renovation of the house. The other activities that were outlined, those will be some activities that will go on there, but for our specific fundraising efforts, we want to try to concentrate on the historic preservation and renovation of the house.
Okay. Did I read that somewhere you were going to be in the business of educating people about this, like a museum or some sort?
From the historic standpoint, once people come into the house, whether they be an educational organization or a group of tourists from Boise, Idaho, or Spokane, Washington, or wherever they may come from, a foreign country, we want them to be able to walk away with some information about how this house came to be. What are the socioeconomic reasonings for why this house came to be, why it was important for this time in history for this house to have a place in historic, in Las Vegas's history, shall we say. What was going on during that time in the 1940s and the 1950s in Las Vegas that required someone to have to rent rooms out of the back of their house when that was the height, or the more or less the starting point of Las Vegas's forage into tourism and building hotels and and different things like that. So we want to be able to provide a background education of what was going on, not to point fingers, not to point blame, but just to be able to say, these are the things that were happening during that time. This is a part of Las Vegas's history. It's not something you can go back and undo, but it's not something that needs to be swept under the rug and forgotten. When you look back on those times, as you start to do your background research in history, when you then come fast forward to say that that's one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the United States, you might then have to go back and look at what are the things that caused that to happen? What are the causes and effect that made this become such a I don't want to say derelict, but a forgotten area economically, socially, in the Las Vegas Valley. While Summerlin has developed, while Henderson has developed, while North Las Vegas has developed, while even parts of, and the new renovation of downtown is coming into development, West Las Vegas, the historic West Las Vegas, still lags behind and is more or less forgotten, as you can tell by the information you receive out of the 7 magazine article. A lot of things have passed West Las Vegas by. You know, there has been no economic stimulus placed in there. Just recently, we got new streetlights. We're really happy about that. Hey, trust me. It was a biggie. So, you know, and to kind of educate you, in the 1930s and 40s, Las Vegas passed laws that prohibited African Americans, Latinos, and other non-whites from even being east of the railroad tracks after sunset unless you were working in one of the hotels either in downtown or what was in the Las Vegas Highway or the Las Vegas Strip. Blacks, even though they were headline entertainers, were not allowed to stay in the hotels. So they could cook, clean, sweep, do whatever, but as once their shift was over, they had to hightail it, and literally hightail it, back across the railroad tracks to West Las Vegas, where in those early days, there were not a lot of paved streets. There were no street lights. There was not a lot of sewers. There were a lot of the houses didn't have indoor plumbing. So there were a lot of things that have traditionally held this area of town back, which is ironic because it was the site of the McWilliamstown site, which was the site that was settled by an engineer from Canada who laid out the McWilliamstown site, which was the first town site for the Las Vegas Valley. So when you kind of go back and look at things to fast forward to say, wow, now this area is the worst area in the Las Vegas Valley, what are some of the things that happened? Those are the things that will make people scratch their head and say, you know what, instead of maybe going to the dam this afternoon, let's go over to West Las Vegas and see some of the history that was created over there.
Well, you mentioned the main emphasis is the refurbishing of the house. And that's where David comes in and his expertise. So maybe, and also you referred to the 7 magazine where some of the history of that house is involved a lot of vandalism. I imagine security is a big issue, not just green technology in refurbishing this house. The street lights, for example, contributes a lot toward better security over there.
Street lights, just kind of jump in right there. It comes from a lot of things. Maybe it's a street light, maybe it's a neighborhood watch program, but it also comes from community pride in your neighborhood.
One of the audiences is the community. To buy into this.
Buy into
it. To protect it, to help it.
To help it. To let the community know that life doesn't always have to go on in the same fashion. A lot of the people that own houses in the neighborhood have owned these houses since they were built. These houses have stayed in the family. They didn't buy into, let's keep the house for 4 to 7 years and sell it and then go out and buy a bigger house. These houses have stayed in the family. One of the ways, like you said, you can secure the house by instilling a bit of community pride. If you put solar panels on your house, if you do different things, if you plant a garden outside of your house so that you can feed your family and feed the neighbors and eat fresher foods and become a healthier person. people don't vandalize those types of areas. People vandalize areas that they feel that there is a forgotten resource or something that they can come in and cop easy money out of. If they know their neighbor is watching the house because the neighbor is also saying, you know what, I'm thinking about putting solar panels on my house, so let me look out and see what's going on over at Harrison House to make sure something's not going, going wrong over there. People will watch out for that, and that's important. That's where that community pride is more than just a block watch party or having a security system in your area or even new street lights. It's about building that pride, a pride of ownership, and this is my neighborhood, so I'm going to protect it.
Perhaps David could address the engineering aspects.
Thank you. Now, I became involved in this project as I'm looking to develop a distributorship for solar thermal assisted air conditioning, which it's a company out of Australia. They manufacture in China, and I had 2 systems shipped here for demonstration purposes. And I had some commercial structures in mind, and I got word of the Harrison House and their needs, and I thought that this would be a higher and best use for this demonstration capability to put this technology in this house to help it save energy, and to also have it be an outreach for the technology to create buzz for it in the community, create the ability to, once it is vetted and it can be sold, is that the community at large, the human resource that's there, can be a part of selling it and make an income stream from it. The green wave that I feel is coming, it still hasn't broken yet. There's a lot of negative things about green technology. People are saying, well, why should I put it in? It costs too much now, and I'll never get that return on investment back. That's the dynamic that has to change. There are commercial structures that have been made a positive cash flow from the investment in 2 years, which is the bellwether for when a commercial investor wants to see. They won't invest in something that's going to take 3 years to get a return on investment. Their line of demarcation is 2 years or less. And we want to be able to prove that. I want to have this house be able to demonstrate with a machine there that we can actually look at and show the before and the after of how much energy this is actually using, and use that as an economic engine for the community. It'll be the first one in Las Vegas. It'll be the first system in Nevada. And it's going to go in the Harrison House. Once this house is rehabilitated, the roof needs to be fixed, the insulation has to be put in. When the house had fallen on hard times, it had really fallen in hard times. All the copper had been taken out, all the wiring had been taken out, and there is a need to rehabilitate this house so we can continue with our plans to put those systems in. Another local company is going to put photovoltaics on the roof, and that's for demonstration purposes as well. When people drive by, they say, what in the world is that sitting on that house? And then also, our immediate need, which Stanton has addressed, is we want to narrow the focus for the purposes of this class, is just to look on how we can do an ask for funds to get that house operable. Once it is, the education component will be how the house is used. There's a lot of opportunities for outreach. It's an area has easy access from downtown Las Vegas. It should be very easy to draw people in, and we want to use the house for events. There's a number of green organizations and commercial organizations and I can't think of the word organizations that are focusing on sustainability, economic development, and we want to tap into those and invite them to come to this house and use that as a venue where it will sustain itself with an income stream for rentals of this hall. Bring people in. It's a great place to socialize, and one step at a time get people to come back to this community. And so it starts with just one house, and once that house is done, it will grow. And so my job is to, I've been taking over the project management of this. My background is 6 years in software development lifecycle, 6 years in engineering, 6 years in project management, and then the rest of my career has been entrepreneurship. And so I find that my skill set is needed to help Stanton and his organization get the show on the road. And why we're here today is help us get the show on the road.
You know, you had mentioned that you want to focus on the fundraising, which obviously is the first step.
Absolutely.
But you have to understand that not only is this class working on this project, I've also, as an experiment to compare what my beginning students can do with what my advanced students, the ones that are just finishing up, ready to exit our program, they've also been assigned this on teams. And this video is going to be presented to them so that they can see that. So there are going to be so many approaches on this that I would like us to, yes, look at your immediate need of the fundraising, but there's some other things. Education is a big part of fundraising. If I'm going to put some money into something, the more I know about it, the better. For example, we would want some bios from all of the principals working on this. That sells it. On the sheet that I gave you to fill out, the prospective client form, you did some very targeted and very thoughtful and very fact-rich statements in there as to who's participating in this, and more detail like that. If you could get that to the team, that would be the better. Now, you're an engineer, and maybe when people were looking at you listen to you talk, they didn't hear that you had something really sexy to say. I mean, they're designers, that's their job. Something really attractive, sexy, that pops out, impact, however you want to put it. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I want to know if you caught that. If you were going to take one sentence to summarize what you just said about what you're trying to do to that, what would that one statement be that you think would be the most attractive statement to anybody to invest in this?
Well, our goal, or at least my goal, and I know it's shared with the Ward 5, I feel it's empowerment. We want to take something that in the whole community needs empowerment. And so I want to find the way that we can put the project plan together, get this house rehabilitated so it can actually be a tool to reach that goal of social development, community empowerment. That's my biggest goal. If anyone is invited to come to the house, see the state it's in, see the state of the community, and then I guarantee you can look at any other community in Las Vegas, and this one has the greatest need. And that's what we're here to plead, to get some help, to get the word out, to target our audience, to get a communication package that will hit them to get into their pocket and say, I want to help. And from the education component is something that we intend to utilize the property for, is education. You can't do anything, which is why are you here? You're here to be educated so you can take that education and move forward with it, and to empower yourselves in your own careers. And once you have this knowledge that you are now internalizing, you will see that down the road you will be spreading out to others. So it isn't just one discrete thing. This is something that will spread like a ripple through a pond.
I'm going to ask you, Dave, and then also ask Stanton to answer the same question, okay? Whether it's a short or a long list, what do you see as a list of items in this communications package that you refer to? We call them design pieces. You know, a poster is a design piece or part of a package, or a brochure. What do you see as tools that you need to better communicate? Give me the list in your mind.
We've had numerous discussions about this, and there's so many avenues that we want to use.
Just rattle it off. If it's 100 of them, it's okay.
In the terms of, we want to have a succinct message that is attractive and gets people's attention. We want to use every media available to spread the word as far as it can go. YouTube, viral videos. We have lots of access to a lot of local talent in town, and we have a lot of plans for mixers with music, with food, and we want to bring people in to see the community. and to help it make it work. So our outreach is to get people in to see what we're doing, to join with us, and to help our cause.
Okay, you mentioned a video, that's a design piece.
Yes.
What else is on that list? Yeah. What do you see you need?
The Stan can
Videos,
talk about these things in
brochures,
greater
and maps,
detail.
whether the maps be online or paper. We want people to be able to download applications. We want to target younger audiences, shall we say, that can get things like right on their hands, on their iPhones and various pieces of devices, shall we say, not just laptops. So we want to do, as an environmental kind of organization, one of the things I want to look at is try to be as paperless as possible. But from a tourist standpoint, you're not happy unless you walk out of there with a piece of paper in your hand. So it's kind of like a strange double-edged sword. We know we got to have some unique paper pieces, whether they be brochures. Everyone that visits any place likes to come back with a T-shirt, travel books, travel channel informational pieces, 1-minute teasers that can be used as a public service announcement. Did I say flyers? Just various paper pieces, and more. The more electronic, the better. But because we deal often in fundraising with folks my age, and if we don't have a piece of paper in our hand, we can't make a decision. But so I'm not lying. It's really sad. It's really sad. Go ahead, sir.
No question. So everything that you just said is to promote the house or to promote the fundraising?
It's to do both. We want to be able to promote the house, and we need to help us. We need to promote the house in order to generate the funds to do the renovation. You know, one of the things that, and Dave kind of touched on it before I kind of shied him down a little bit. We have, and he's a perfect example. His company, Cool Solar, has a very new, modern, sexy piece of machinery that represents new technology, you know, 21st century technology. And we want to attract companies like that to put their gizmos, gadgets, and whatever you call them on our house that are going to help us reduce our electricity bill. We want to, it's not that we have anything against NV Energy. We just are sick and tired of giving them all of our money, you know. People in our neighborhood are paying like $500 or $600 power bills. That's ridiculous. But these are older houses. With technology like that Dave has, and one of the things that we can do in our brochures and things, we can highlight companies like Cool Solar. Cool Solar is getting ready to donate 2 solar-powered air conditioners, you know, free of charge. You know, made in Canada, shipped through Australia, bang. Deco Lights, another local company, is doing all LED lighting for the house. So our lighting will be like you enjoy here. People in our neighborhood, we ain't got that. And I know ain't got that is not a proper way to say it, but we ain't got that over there. You know, you know, there are no solar panels. We've got the largest number of churches per capita, you know, and probably North America in this whole, what, 2 square mile area. You know, none of the churches have solar panels. You know, what is up with that? None of them have LED lighting. Most of them have stained glass windows, but they don't have dual pane windows. We want to be able to show them as residents, you know, what is this new technology? Who are some of these companies that are coming in and donating? And from a company standpoint, we want to be able to flip the brochure around and say, if you give us your gizmo, gadget, and whatchamacallit, we'll put it on the house. You will be able to say, you want to see our technology at work, go to the Harrison House. It's a unique opportunity. Out of the goodness of our heart, we donated this stuff to this historic house in one of the most impoverished parts of the entertainment capital of the world. And now you can go there and see how our LED lights work. You can go there and see how our Energy Star kitchen appliances work. You can go there and see how our insulation works. You can go there and see how our gardening products work. We want some technology and some informational pieces that'll help us promote that. Yes, ma'am.
What's the total cost of the house? And then what is the average income of the households around it?
Total cost renovating this house will be approximately $187,000.
Do you know the average income of the households around the house?
Probably about $20,000.
Okay.
$20,000 to $40,000 per annum.
But also, when we're talking about the renovation of the house, it's from the roof down. Everything has to be done. One of the benefactors that we have is the Andrews, or the Nellis Air Force Base Red Horse Squadron, and they're donating 100% of the labor to retrofit this house. And what our ask for right now is the materials. When you get the materials, we'll have that house done in 2 weeks. And our immediate need is to raise funds or in-kind donations to get us those materials. Once that's done, Red Horse will be here on New York 2nd, and that house is going to be up and operational.
And then what's the next step? Because really, our students should be working on the next step instead of just the fundraising. What do you think what is the next immediate step after the fundraising acquires the funds that you need?
Funds are acquired. The next step will then be, you know, come out and see how the promotion of how these products are going into use, you know, and then the ensuing steps on that will be generating the tourism traffic, both locally and worldwide, to come in and see it. The following steps after that will be to implement some of the other programs that are outlined in here, the educational things, the veterans outreach, the you know, social entertainment aspects of it, so that you can have, in this area there are no private facilities where you can even have a club meeting, you know, so if you want to have a community meeting for a neighborhood association, you have to go to a church or to some government-owned building, you know.
Okay, so you guys saying that you want to rebuild the house with all this new technology, and then you also saying after you get the house all fixed up with new technology, you want to bring the history of the house, and so you also promote the history, like what happened in the 1940s and the 1950s. I don't know what I'm saying, but like
you're doing a good job of saying it, and that's exactly it.
You hit it right on the head. We want to take, it would be, you don't know how many times we've heard, you know, the easiest thing to do is to come in here and bulldoze this thing and start from the ground and then come up and then put pictures in it of what happened here. And to that end, that's one form of historic preservation. Las Vegas has got a widespread reputation of that. You know, one way you can look at a historical site, the site is still there, whether the building still stands on it or not. So the Harrison House would still, the site, 1001 F Street, would still be a historic site, whether or not the dwelling was on it or not. But that's the easy way. You know, that's the easy way to do it. We want to take this house and show our neighbors that you may not be able to do everything that we did in our renovation of this house, but there are some pieces, parts that you can use to make your house more energy efficient that'll get NV Energy out of your pocket, you know, that'll help you save money on your water bill. That'll, maybe you can like take a plot of ground and grow you some tomatoes, and so you can cut down on your high blood pressure and different things. So there's a lot of, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to renovate an older building. We want to show people that this is what you can do. We want to show them the highest end use of what you can do with a renovation of an older building. And then everyone else will be able to benefit by saying, I can't do the whole thing, but I can do pieces, parts of it. There are a lot of government rebate programs. There are product rebate programs that individual households can tap into that can help fund the process for their own renovation. They can do their own green renovation and get tax credits, cash rebates, and different funding for them to do it themselves.
Will it be more like a museum to show the history?
Right, it will be like a
or
museum.
more like a showroom to introduce the green technology?
Well, all of the above.
Well, all of the above. When complete, it'll be all of the above. You'll be able to come in and see the latest and greatest, his cool solar air conditioner, and then look on the walls and see displays about what happened, who these great artists were, you know, that were entertainers, that were headliners. These are people that folks paid lots of money to go and see, but they couldn't stay anywhere else. They rented a room. And they had great socialization inside this house. You know, when they weren't on stage, they were sitting around the piano, sharing stories. We want to be able to get older people that lived in Las Vegas during that time to be able to sit on our front porch and tell the story and have that information spread like that about that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope I worded correctly, but like I enjoy your vision. Like I see where you guys are going with this and everything, and I think that the most important part of that community is that they love being a community. But how exactly are you going to make them feel like they belong? You know, like that's like how are you going to help them embrace your vision as well? Especially because you said the household income is
$20,000 to $40,000, maybe a little bit hard. I think
average income there is probably about that. The way that you do it, and we talk to them. We live in the neighborhood. We're not driving into the neighborhood and 5 o'clock we get in our cars and drive away. And then on Saturday and Sunday, unless we're having a function going on, there's nobody around. We are there every day. We are part of the community. And that's how you get them to buy into it, is to say, we're not trying to do this to regentrification so that it can take over, so now it's the new.
like trying to be a savior.
Yeah, we're not coming in to save you. Yeah, we're coming in to ask you what it is that we can do that can help you. We want to show you things that can help you have a better quality of life. And we want to find out from you, our neighbors, what kind of things do you think will help?
And another question, regarding young people, is there any type of recreation there for them?
there will be.
Okay.
There will be. You know,
To be an all ages thing, so that we can program, you know, one of the, you know, maybe it's kind of, I hear it's a lost art now, is the art of storytelling. You know, as a younger kid, our older parents would sit around and they would tell us stories about how back in the day, you know, and how things were. We want to have those kind of exchanges, and not only just from a historical standpoint. We want to be able to let younger people talk to each other about their activities. We want to have places where they can come and have activities, where they can have a party, where they can have a gathering, where they can have a study session. You know, the house, when you have a house that's designed to be corridored off to rent rooms, there are various sections of the house that you can have one little meeting over here. There can be a meeting in another room. There can be a meeting on the front porch. There can be a meeting on the side lawn. So the house lends itself to multiple use activities.
And one more question.
no, keep going.
Because you guys said that you also wanted to extend on green technology. You want to inspire that within that neighborhood. But where do you guys see yourself with this Harrison house? Are you guys going to expand onto the house maybe in a couple of years?
No.
Nothing, just keep it as it is?
Right.
But that is a very good question. And the reason why it's a good question, it kind of plays into our next giant step, which is the development of 1 green square mile. So as we were saying, you know, we want to show our neighbors how that they can do it, and then we want to embrace an idea of expanding the green technology to a 1 green square mile area, so that you have a livable community. We want to have a walkable 1 green square mile community. And remember again, this is within walking distance of the Fremont Street experience. So as the new developments on Fremont Street East are developing, we want to have a household. We have better freeway access than any other neighborhood in the Las Vegas Valley. We don't want to lose that, but we don't want it to become the new it place to come in, and now housing prices are through the roof. But we don't want to have a bunch of boarded up buildings. We don't want to have crack sold on our streets. You know, not to say that crack's not sold on the street anyplace else, but it's to say that we want to have some different things to offer our community. We want people that are coming back in for church on Sunday to drive by one of the newly developed green vacant lots and say, you know what? I think I'd like to bring my family back and live here again. My grandmother lives down the street over here. My mom grew up on the corner over here. My aunt lived around the corner. Want to bring people back into the community, bring people back home.
That's great. That's great.
I'd like to say something. One thing I want to interject here is, imagine, if you will, the grand opening of the Harrison House as a redeveloped community center showing green technology, doing community outreach, and what the network news will say about that when we say, come back over here and see what's going on. Remember the history that's here, and also look to the future as to what we stand for. And as a public relations specialist, help us with that. We can take this from just we need materials today to get the house running to here we are, we're all doing this together. And by the way, you have an invitation for this so that you're a part of this, and we can all celebrate this together once we achieve this.
Next week is spring break.
There was a
They don't have,
over here.
I know, but I want to know if you could provide an opportunity, a window next week sometime for anyone who's interested to go and get a tour of this place so they can see it, maybe take some pictures, get a better feel for that.
Email addresses are on this sheet. You can get Dave at DC Sharp. DC Sharp. Old man can't see this. DC Sharp, that's DCSHARP 111 at
MSN.
MSN.com.
MSN.com.
MSN.com, because that looks like a G to me. Or you can reach us at the Ward 5 Chamber of Commerce at gmail.com. And you can reach me directly at swilkie13@gmail.com.
We don't want you to set up 20 different ones. Could we pick a time where, because everybody's free
You know
at
what?
this time. They're free on, what is today? Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday next week at this time?
That'll be fine.
Anyone interested in maybe going over a meeting there? We don't have glass. Who would be interested in Monday? Wednesday. Okay, can we do it this time next week?
Fantastic. Be right there.
Pick a time, 12, 1,
12 1.
1?
1 works. I'll be awake by then.
Okay. All my other class know that.
Okay.
How big is the land around the house?
What is it?
How many square feet is it?
The house is
1,700 square feet.
1,700 square feet is the house, and it consists of two main buildings, a main building and a cottage, and a rear cottage that we call the caretaker's quarters.
What's the acreage of the property?
0.9 acres.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good size. One of the things about this area of town, the lots are fairly good size, and is not like in other new modern neighborhoods where you can almost reach out your window and reach into someone else's, your neighbor's refrigerator. So the houses have good acreage around them. The city has just come in and done new curb cuts and put in new sidewalks. Everybody else gets a new business over there, they get a new sidewalk. It's just how you look at things. So the lots are nice. You know, we grow a lot of broken glass and weeds on the vacant lots. There's a lot of boarded up buildings, but the area has such tremendous potential. And those are kind of things, you know, back to what David was saying, as we have grand openings, we want our companies, our vendors to be, as they see on the news, when they come through, you know, how would Apple like to see their computers sitting, you know, as the touchscreen TV, as someone does walks up to see a history video of Sammy Davis Jr. when he was with the Will Maston Trio, which was made up of his uncle and his brother, and see their fabulous dance routines. If any of you want to go on YouTube and see something like that, it'll like school you on dance, okay? Trust me. And other products, you know, Energy Star, you know, being able to, like, as the camera shines by the Fabulous Kitchen, see their products. Product placement is going to be one of the things that helps us get corporate donors to become a part of it. Their philanthropic generosity is only going to go so far, but when we can show them how it can generate sales as well as do something positive for a neighborhood, I think that's going to be a benefit.
Having a website?
We'd love to have a website, but
I'm like 92 years old, and
He only looks 100.
and I only look 100. That's because I don't drink or smoke or chase young girls anymore, or any less. But we would like website development. We like to be able to have Twitter accounts. We'd like to be able to, we want everything. We want it all. But of course we don't know how to work any of that, you know, or even how to set it up. But those are the kind of things, because we know we're going to have to reach a newer audience that goes that way to get their information. I used to go to something called the Encyclopedia to get things. You guys probably never even seen a whole set of those. They're these big books.
I'll sell you a set cheap.
But that's the kind of, you know, when you were saying products and materials, I would rather you guys come back to us and say, these are the types of things that you need to help sell, more so than as a client tell you, because I've developed a lot of our brochures and informational pieces, but I'm doing it from a different standpoint. I know the kind of pieces that I would like to see, but I think sometimes by telling you this is our laundry list, it may stifle you from coming up with something that you're really good at.
I'll assure that. Give us your laundry list.
My laundry list would be, like I said, paper brochures, flyers, 30-second, 1-minute PSAs, a 2-minute video introductory piece, a map, an online map, interactive website, a kiosk. An interactive kiosk would be best in the long run if we can get funding for it. Like I say,
The washing machine needs to handle that.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
You got him started.
Well, I kind of did marketing for a little while. I was marketing manager for the Regional Transportation Commission for 10 years. So
That's what I was going to ask you. You mentioned that you had done some design pieces and that. Can you get me copies, and I'll disperse them, of all the materials, of all the information that you currently have about your project? Certainly. And I wanted to ask you, do you have the equivalent to a business plan, some sort of a document that...
Actually, like, we even have a business plan.
Oh, good. Could we get a copy of that?
that. But again, I wanted to caution you on these pieces that we're kind of, like I said, we want to narrow that focus down so that it's based on, for this fundraising effort, on the renovation and historic preservation of the house. One of the things that we found out in the past in our forays out into the cold, cruel world to solicit funds, a lot of people get confused and think that we're all over the place because we want to do green technology and renovate a house. They don't understand how those things go together, and so it's like, come back to us when you have a narrowed down business plan that just shows me how my dollar is going to be used to renovate the house. They don't want to talk about historic preservation. You know, when we talk to historic preservation people, they only want to talk historic preservation. Don't talk to me about helping black veterans because that has nothing to do with historic preservation. So we get a lot of folks, you know, have come back to us. Our feedback on it is to narrow your focus.
That's true.
And it is true, but we can't, you know.
Let me say something here. Now, there's the present, and then there's the future. And hopefully we can align with this organization here, to, one, get our immediate needs done, but then also look at further on down the road on how our message can be fine-tuned for other outreaches that promotions such as this can help manifest. The first thing we want to focus on to narrow the scope is just the fundraise to complete the house. There are subsequent phases to this that will have its own outreach and its own different methods for media that we'll want to use. Not all tools, you use them, you don't use a hammer to turn a screw. So at some point we will have other ways to work together to target other audiences, have a different message using different media.
So is there anybody that still has a question as to what needs to be done?
Great. But thank you guys for your time and your help. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Email us, call us, come see us next week. We can't wait to get started with you guys.